Is the middle class disappearing? Is the age of making money over? These are the questions that have been swirling around in recent years, causing a stir of debate and concern across multiple platforms. Let's delve into these pressing issues and shed some light on the matter. The middle class, once a robust and thriving portion of society, is now seemingly fading into obscurity. This demographic, which was once the backbone of a flourishing economy, is now dwindling, with more and more people either climbing up into affluence or, unfortunately, slipping down into poverty. The middle ground, the stable and secure realm of the middle class, is becoming less and less occupied. The disparity in income is a glaring and undeniable reality. The gap between the rich and the poor is widening, and it's widening rapidly. While the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. And the middle class, well, they're getting squeezed out. The scales are tipping, and they're not tipping in favor of balance. But why is this happening? Why is the middle class shrinking? A multitude of factors are at play. Changes in the job market, shifts in the economy, and a rise in the cost of living all contribute to this unsettling trend. The promise of upward mobility, the cornerstone of the American dream, seems to be slipping out of reach for many. And then there's the question of the age of making money being over. Some say it's a sensationalist claim, others argue it's a harsh reality. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. The way money is made has definitely changed, and old models of success are being challenged. So what happened to the middle class? And why do some say the era of making money is over? The answers are complex, multifaceted, and intertwined with the fabric of our society and economy. As we continue this exploration, we will uncover more about these phenomena and their far-reaching implications. Stay tuned as we unravel the mystery of the disappearing middle class and the changing landscape of wealth creation. Economic inequality has been on the rise, but why? The widening gap between the rich and the poor is more than just a talking point. It's a reality that's reflected in cold, hard data. Over the last few decades, the share of income going to the top 1% of the earners has increased dramatically. In the 70s, the top 1% took home about 8% of the national income. Fast forward to today, and they're raking in almost a quarter of all income. That's a threefold increase, a trend that's mirrored in many developed countries around the globe. In the meantime, the middle class, once the backbone of the economy, is shrinking. Their share of the national income has been steadily declining. The middle class that once held a robust share of the national wealth now holds significantly less. But what's driving this trend? Economists point to a variety of factors. Technological advancements have automated many jobs that used to be done by middle-income workers. Globalization has made it easier for companies to outsource jobs to countries where labor is cheaper. And changes in policy, such as tax cuts for the wealthy, have exacerbated the problem. Wealth concentration has also been on the rise. The richest 1% of households now hold more wealth than the bottom 80% combined. That's a staggering amount of wealth in the hands of a very small number of people. These figures paint a stark picture of the state of our economy. But how did we get here? The wealth has shifted, but where did it go? Let's delve into this. The shift of wealth from the middle class to the top 1% is a complex process, not an overnight occurrence. And it's driven by several key factors: globalization, technology, and political changes. Globalization, in its essence, has made it easier for companies to tap into cheaper labor markets. This has led to a stagnation of wages in developed countries, with the middle class bearing the brunt of it. At the same time, the top 1%, the owners and shareholders, have seen their wealth skyrocket as they've reaped the benefits of these lower production costs. Then there's technology, a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's created new industries, jobs, and wealth. On the other, it's automated many traditional middle-class jobs. And who's profiting from this? Again, it's the top 1%, the innovators and investors who are at the forefront of these technological advances. Political changes too have played their part. Policies favoring deregulation and tax cuts for the wealthy have contributed to this widening wealth gap. These legislative shifts have allowed the rich to amass wealth at a rate that far outpaces the middle class. So the wealth hasn't just evaporated into thin air, it hasn't just disappeared. It's moved, and it's moved upwards, concentrating in the hands of the few. This shift in wealth has had profound impacts. It's changed the face of our societies, our economies, and our world. And what about the middle class? They've been squeezed, left behind in this global technological and political race towards wealth accumulation. Their share of the pie has shrunk as the wealthy's has ballooned. The wealth didn't just disappear, it moved, and with it the middle class. We've heard it said, the age of making money is over. But what does that mean? It's a statement that rings with a sense of finality, a closing chapter on an era where hard work and perseverance were the keys to financial prosperity. The nature of work and income generation has been reshaped, and we're facing a new, unfamiliar landscape. Consider the rise of automation and artificial intelligence. Machines are now capable of performing tasks that were once the exclusive domain of humans. From manufacturing to customer service, from data analysis to transportation, no industry is untouched by this technological revolution. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? On one hand, it's a testament to human innovation, a triumph of our intellect. Yet, on the other hand, it raises the specter of job displacement and economic displacement. Then there's the gig economy, a phenomenon that's redefining what it means to be employed. The promise of flexibility and autonomy is alluring. You can be your own boss, set your own hours, work from anywhere. But there's a flip side. Job security, benefits, steady income. These are often elusive in the gig economy. It's a form of employment that can be as unstable as it is liberating. And let's not forget the challenges facing traditional employment models. The 9-to-5 grind, the steady job with its promise of a comfortable retirement. These are becoming relics of a bygone era. Today's workers face stagnant wages, shrinking benefits, and the constant threat of layoffs. The ladder to upward mobility seems to be missing some crucial rungs. The ways we work and earn are changing. But what does this mean for the future? The answer to that question is uncertain. What is certain, however, is that we are in the midst of a profound shift. The money-making era as we know it is drawing to a close. The question now is, are we ready for what comes next? What impact does the disappearance of the middle class and the end of the money-making era have on our society? This question looms large as we grapple with the reality of our evolving socioeconomic landscape. Firstly, let's consider social mobility. The middle class has traditionally been the stepping stone between the lower and upper classes. It's where dreams are born and nurtured, where individuals can move up the economic ladder through hard work and determination. But as the middle class shrinks, that stepping stone becomes more like a cliff. The gap between the rich and the poor widens, and the dream of upward mobility starts to fade away. This economic disparity also has significant political implications. The stability of a society often lies in the middle class. They are the buffer between the haves and the have-nots, the mediators who can help bridge the gap. Without a robust middle class, our political landscape becomes more polarized, more volatile. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the voices of the many get drowned out by the wealth of the few. And then, there's the issue of the social contract. This unwritten agreement between the government and its citizens relies on a mutual understanding of fairness and justice. But as the middle class disappears and the age of making money ends, that contract is being rewritten. The rules of the game are changing, and not everyone is equipped to keep up. This isn't just about who gets what slice of the economic pie, it's about the very fabric of our society. It's about our shared values, our collective dreams, and the kind of world we want to leave for our children. So what happens when the middle class disappears? What happens when the age of making money is over? We're living those questions right now, and the answers are still unfolding. But one thing is certain, these changes aren't just economic, they're reshaping our society. What does the future hold in this new economic landscape? As we stand on the precipice of change, staring out at an uncertain horizon, we can only speculate about the shape of things to come. The shift in wealth, the disappearance of the middle class, the end of the money-making era. These are not simply isolated occurrences. They are interconnected threads in the tapestry of our economic future. If current trends persist, we could see an even greater divide between the haves and the have-nots. Wealth concentration might continue to escalate, with a handful of individuals and corporations holding the majority of global resources. This could lead to a dystopian future where the majority of the population struggles for basic necessities, while a small elite enjoys unprecedented wealth. But the future is not written in stone. Policy responses and solutions can be developed to counteract these trends. Progressive taxation, stronger regulation of corporations, and wealth redistribution strategies could all play a part in creating a more equitable economic landscape. Furthermore, we mustn't forget the power of innovation and technology. They've been the engine of economic growth for centuries, and there's no reason to believe that'll stop. New industries could emerge, providing opportunities for wealth creation that we can't even imagine today. Education and skills training will be paramount. As the nature of work changes, we'll need to equip people with the skills to navigate this new landscape. Lifelong learning will become the norm, not the exception. And finally, we must foster a culture of empathy and solidarity. Economic structures are human-made, and they can be human-changed. We must remember that behind every statistic, there's a human story. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The economic landscape is changing and we must adapt. So, what have we learned from all this? We've unearthed the stark reality of the disappearing middle class, a shift that's been brewing for years now. Once the backbone of our economy, the middle class is now getting thinner, their slice of the wealth pie shrinking. Economic inequality, far from being just a buzzword, has become a tangible, palpable phenomenon. The wealth, it seems, has shifted towards the upper echelons, widening the gap between the haves and have-nots. This shift in wealth, though, is not the only change we're witnessing. We're also standing at the threshold of a new era, the end of the money-making era. This might sound alarming, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It simply signals a shift in our values, our goals, and the way we define success. The age-old adage of more money equals more happiness no longer holds water. We're now seeking fulfillment, purpose, and sustainability over mere financial gain. But what does this mean for our society? The disappearance of the middle class and the end of the money-making era pose significant challenges. They call for adaptation, for resilience, and for a reimagining of our socioeconomic structures. They demand a policy response that acknowledges these shifts and strives to bridge the gap, to ensure that opportunity and prosperity are not just the privilege of a select few. The middle class may be disappearing and the money-making era may be over, but that doesn't mean the end. It means a new beginning, a new challenge, and a new opportunity for change. Let's face it together.